was shooting up in the Klondike when they got Dan McGree. Folks were putting the blame on the lady known as Lou. I get too hungry for dinner at 8. I like the theater, but never go late. Amado mio, love me forever, and let forever begin tonight. Put the blame on me.
Happy Halloween, everyone. I know we're a little late getting started today, but there were gremlins in the midst. It is Halloween after all. That was my dear friend, I want to say Rita Hayworth, but it's not. It's Quinn Limley as Rita Hayworth, and she is amazing. And if you get a chance to see her, and you are going to get a chance to see her because she's coming to the Triad in a residency, which means that there are multiple times that you can go and see her. But she's on the show today, and we have 5 incredible artists today. We are going to be talking about maintaining our well-being when it comes to creating our art. And all of the artists that we have on our show today are all people who are creating their art day after day after day, month after month after month, and year after year after year. But it's Halloween, and we're going to celebrate not only the holiday of today, but what's coming up. Nobody knows who I'm bringing on first, but I do. And he is about to make his Don't Tell Mama debut. And I am so thrilled that he's here today. Chris Autore, welcome to the show.
Hello, hi.
And we're wearing similar colors today, so I like that.
All right.
So, Chris, first of all, it's Halloween. Before we talk about your show, do you have a favorite Halloween memory, or do you like the holiday? Do you not like the holiday? What does Halloween mean to you?
Well, when I was 12 to 15 years old, we built a witch, and we put it on my mother's rope line. And I had all the music from One Step Beyond, if you remember that old black and white show. It had that really eerie music. And we created a witch that I hung on the rope line, and we used to manually go down with spotlights and music blasting in the neighborhood. And all the kids in the neighborhood loved the witch because they were scared out of their pants. And that's my favorite Halloween of all, when I created a show out in my backyard.
Now, you're in Florida now for
Yes.
Halloween. Are you working tonight?
No, I'm off tonight.
Wow, that's unusual.
It is. I took the night off because I need to rest for my show in New York on Wednesday.
Well, let's talk about that. You're going to be at Don't Tell Mama on Wednesday night, the 5th. Is this your cabaret debut in New York?
It is. It is.
Now, you've been in the business, and I know you've got a Dorian Gray somewhere in your attic, but you've been in the business, according to your press release, 75 years. What took you so long?
Well, I was working, doing shows, like doing stage shows and those kind of shows, but I've never done a cabaret show. So I came to New York and I interviewed about 4 or 5 directors. They all told me I had a great story, and I moved forward with it.
Geoff Stoner is your director.
Yes, Jeffrey's great.
And but I want to share something with everyone. Here you are. There you are, the little boy on the Horn and Hardhat Children's Hour in 1950. What was that experience like?
Well, my grandmother taught me how to sing in Italian when I was 3 years old. So my parents heard about this show and drove me to New York in the audition, and I nailed it. And I was on the show for about 2 years with Tallulah Bankhead, Connie Francis, Bernadette Peters, Rosemary Clooney, and even Carole King was there.
Wow. Well, you mentioned Connie Francis. I met her, although I did see her in concert, and I'm thrilled about that. And I did get the opportunity to interview her, which, by the way, everyone, is available on this YouTube channel. Go and check it out. But you and Connie remained very good friends. And as a matter of fact, you celebrated her birthday with her just a few weeks before we sadly lost her.
Yes, sir.
What was it? I mean, maintaining a friendship with her. When, where, and how did that happen?
She was 12 years old, and I was 5 years old. 28 years after the Horn and Heart Art, I accompanied her here in Florida as she sang with me at the Limelight, which was Valentino's Lounge in Hollywood, Florida. Now, you had a Limelight Disco in New York, and we had a Limelight Disco here in Florida. And on the side of that Limelight Disco was a very classy lounge called Valentino's. So I accompanied her then. I've seen her singing around clubs all over Florida. We've kept in touch. She used to come to Maggiano's in Boca all the time for dinner. But that one time, the picture that you just showed, is when I got to repay and sing her back the same songs that she sang with me in 1978. Unforgettable and Embraceable You.
Now, this story and many other stories are all going to be part of your show on Wednesday night. And if I'm not mistaken, it's almost sold out.
It is sold out.
It is sold out.
Yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, it was completely sold out. But then I had a woman in Connecticut who had a minor car accident, so she couldn't come. And one of my dear friends here in Florida got sick and she can't come. So I immediately told them that 3 seats were open, but those 3 seats went this morning.
Now, how long ago was it that you and I spoke and you were nervous about whether or not you would have an audience?
When I saw you at Carol Gershman's show.
Yes. But you were afraid, and here you are, a sold out show at Don't Tell Mama.
And a debut show being sold out. You know, my dear friend Eden Castiel, who's a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
I was ready to take a little nap in New York one afternoon, and I got a text message from her, and she said to me, "Can you please come to my show at Don't Tell Mama?" And I said, "Sure, I can sleep another time." I walked over to Don't Tell Mama. I walked into her show. She had 6 people on her debut show, and I felt like, is this the way it's supposed to be? So from that experience, I kind of was afraid, being an unknown in New York now, because I've been gone for 40 years. 40 years ago, everyone knew me in New York, but 40 years have passed, and I haven't done any shows in New York in all this time. And I was afraid. I was wondering, can I fill the room? But I had a strategy. Support other singers, other entertainers. Make friends with people in New York. Get them interested, get them curious. And that's how I
have to say, Chris, with all due respect to the fact that this is your debut show, there are a lot of seasoned artists who are, especially in today's world, struggling to get an audience to come in and see them. So kudos to you, and kudos to your strategy, because I totally believe that we have to support each other. We're going to bring our next guest on in just a moment, but I want to ask you, when do you feel most at peace in your creative process, and what practices help you stay grounded when the work gets demanding for you?
I just have to stay busy. If I'm not busy, I get very depressed. I have to keep making music on a daily basis somehow, some way. My thing is busy hands or happy hands. And that's...
everyone take that the way it's meant. But anyway, I am so thrilled that you're here today. And we have 4 people waiting in the wings. So pull a number 1 through 4, and we will bring up the next guest.
Let's do 3.
And we just saw her, and that's our dear friend Quinn Lindley. Hello, Quinn. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Richard. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
So, Quinn, are you going to get a chance to go see Chris's show Wednesday night?
I'm going to try. It sounds fabulous.
He's worked with everybody in the business. So, Quinn, I want to ask you, you and I have spent a lifetime. I was thinking about this.
We have, and I'm so honored.
But I was thinking this afternoon that I owe a lot of my career to Halloween, because I would dress as Carol Channing. on Halloween night, and I would hit every piano bar in town. Do you have a favorite Halloween memory? What does this holiday mean to you? Do you celebrate? Do you not celebrate? What does it mean to you?
I do celebrate. I love Halloween. It's one of my favorites. My favorite one was when I was a little kid. I was obsessed with Napoleon Bonaparte. Don't ask why, but I like cut my hair so I'd have like a bang like this and wore the hat and went trick or treating. And so I think that was one of my favorite because I had just lived in France and I was learning all this French history and I was trying to live it, and Halloween was the perfect time.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that when I was performing as Carol, um, as my career took off, I didn't feel like dressing up for Halloween anymore because I
But you're
felt like
dressed up today. You've
well,
got
I'm
little
dressed up today,
horns.
but no
You
makeup.
devil, you.
I was going to put the makeup on, but tomorrow night I am interviewing Leslie Ann Warren on stage in Brooklyn.
How
And I was
wonderful.
afraid that if I put all the makeup on, there would be tinges of it in my skin. So I decided I was going to not do the makeup. I think this is enough.
Well, I think you look fabulous, and the
Well,
horns
thank
are
you.
just a great,
Thank you.
I'm feeling very damn Yankees.
So, well, Lola, we could go on the road, Quinn.
Oh my God, Richard, we'd have so much fun.
The good old days. So,
Yes.
Quinn, you still, I mean, how many years has it been since you debuted as Rita Hayworth?
Oh my gosh, I started in my mid 20s so it's been a while, but the show was completely different. And it's what a life she led. And I mean, Chris, I'm sure like all the people that there's no way in your 20s that you can really understand the complexity of a woman that had a full life and a full career and 5 husbands and Alzheimer's and stardom. But I mean, I was so successful when I was younger. Then I put it away, and then I met my husband, Paul Horton, and I completely revamped it for the performing arts centers and casinos. And so that's, evolved into this new formation that I'm doing.
Now, you're going to be doing your show at the Triad. And
Yes.
obviously, I mean, the last time that I saw you was at BB King's. So it's been a while. And can you believe it's been that long?
Oh my
And,
goodness.
and the show, I have to say, is phenomenal. Why did you decide, very interestingly enough, can I give away a secret about Rita Hayworth?
Yes.
She was dubbed in
Mhm.
her films.
Mhm.
But
By
you are a
Anita
great
Ellis
singer.
and
But you're a great singer, and now you've taken these songs and you've put them on your own CD. As you're recording these songs, are you thinking more of the style of what you bring to Rita because you can actually sing these songs?
Mhm.
Or are you evoking also the ghost singers who sang for her in her films?
Both. Rita actually, she worked with, I had the privilege of getting to know Anita Ellis at the end of her life. And she came to see my show. And Rita really worked with the singers and the breathing and everything. And she used her body to really perform the songs. And so they merged as one. And for me, I channel Rita, but I'm not an impersonation. And
I know.
so the other thing too is when I redid the show with Paul, he was like, put it with a big band and use the background of the golden age of Hollywood, because that was her soundtrack. For us, we have Queen, or David Bowie or that kind of thing. But back then, I mean, what are the songs that would have been, the soundtrack of her life? And it was really fun because I was able to use Sinatra songs from Pal Joey, where he would sing to her. Now she's making fun of herself in Lady is a Tramp. And so it was just really wonderful to reimagine the arrangements by Ted Firth and the songs and how I wanted to interpret them.
That's great. I want to bring on our next guest, but before I do, I want to ask you, since we're talking about well-being today, and I know not to go deep into the weeds with this, but
Mhm.
you've been through a lot over the last few years. So
Yes.
I want to ask you, art pulls us into emotional spaces that can be draining sometimes. How do you separate your personal well-being from the emotional intensity of the story that you're telling on stage?
I I use what I'm experiencing to pour into the role, and I have to say that I don't think that I would have gotten through the past 2 years if I didn't have my music, because it was a way to express myself through me as me, but through the music or through the character. Um, and if I and like Chris, if I wasn't making music or practicing every day, even if it's 15 minutes a day, I don't feel complete. It's like working out. You have to work those muscles, and
Yeah.
it's almost like the universe is working through me. I mean, well, Richard, I see you channel all the time. I mean, not just um, Carol Channing, but you as Richard Skipper when you're on stage. I mean, you're just letting it flow through you, and that's been my way of letting the music, letting the emotions, letting the plays or whatever acting I'm doing, letting the creative process move through me. And that's been my, I don't want to say salvation, but my way of healing.
Well, for us too. So keep doing what you're doing. So you're in the Monty Hall seat today. You get to pull door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. And we're going to bring our next guest on.
I would choose door number 3. I like trios.
Well, I do too. And he happens to be one of my favorite people. And I'm not saying that because he's on the show today, but he is a great writer. He has a new book out called Queer Musicals, Boy Meets Boy to Jagged Little Pill. And first of all, I love this. And I have to say, Robert, and I hope you'll take this with the way it's meant, but isn't that an oxymoron?
Yeah. I told my dad, I said, I'm writing a book on queer musicals. And he said, isn't that all of them? And then one day he came up to me and he handed me an index card. He goes, there's your straight musicals book. And so
no, well, that's funny. And I know that this is part of a series of books, like The Essentials of Broadway.
Yeah.
And so did they come to you with the idea of writing this? Oh, they did?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I mean, there's so many wonderful people that are writers and I respect and admire them so much. So I always feel guilty telling this story. But the publisher approached me and said, would you be interested in writing this particular book? And I said, why not? So yeah, I was very lucky. They came to me and it's been so fun to put together and it's doing very well, knock wood. And so I'm hoping it'll inspire people and teach people about our wonderful history and whose shoulders we're standing on.
Well, when you begin to write a book, sometimes the book takes on a life of its own and the book begins to write itself. No offense to the work that you bring to it. But is this book the book that you set out to write, or did it morph into something completely different from what you first envisioned?
I think, you know what? I think it did morph because I think there was a story that wanted to be told and I just sort of surrendered to that. Originally, I thought it was going to be a lot more dry and factual. And then as I did the research, I realized that, the struggle to get so many of these queer stories up at a time when people weren't interested in hearing these stories. I really felt like the book took on its own life. And I'm really proud that where it ended up, because I feel like it's done a really nice job of articulating a story that hasn't been told yet before. So you just sort of have to surrender to where the story wants to take you. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to resist it. Just lean into it.
What surprised you the most from this book, writing this book?
I was really surprised in in terms of the research or the reaction?
Both.
In terms of the research, how little research there actually is out there on this particular topic, because it's not a topic that's we have so many queer people that create these musicals, but not so many of them have ever codified their stories before. So it's a lot of deep research, which was really fun. That surprised me. I thought there'd be more available. And also what's really surprised me is young people's reactions to the book. So for example, when we talk about Lacage, they said, what do you mean that the first two leads were straight actors? How could they allow that to happen? And if this was happening now, we'd cancel them. And I want them to understand that we have lots of wonderful straight allies who helped us a lot. Like those two individuals risked their careers telling our story. So let's not chastise them so fast.
Well, I'm so thrilled that you said that, because as a queer actor myself, I would hate to know that I did not get a job because I was gay. And I hope that, and I know, I had Brian Batt on the show, and he was talking about Tales of the City, and that when they were doing a table read, I hope he doesn't mind my telling the story, but they were doing a table read, and some of the younger actors were offended by some of the way that things were being described.
Yeah.
But then the older actors were able to explain to them that this was the way things were. And I believe, and I'm sure that Chris and Quinn agree with me on this, as artists, our job is to reflect the light of humanity. And if we shut things off, because I would like to know that there are certain roles that I know that I will never play, but I would also like to know that even if it's in a classroom, that I can imagine what the experience is of walking in those shoes.
Yes. And I know a lot of us here are teachers as well, but one of the things that I've noticed over the years teaching is a lot of artists, young artists, don't want to step into somebody else's shoes. They feel like it's offensive or appropriating, but I'm like, that's what art is all about. I mean, you have to walk in somebody else's shoes, because then you understand a humanity that you never understood before. And I think to just only live in your lane puts blinders on. And I think that just sort of negates what the whole joy of art in the first place. Like, I'm assuming, Quinn, when you put on Rita Hayworth's shoes, you learned things about yourself that you probably would never have known had you not stepped into her her
absolutely.
shows. You take a song, So I'm hoping that students will start to be a little bit more experimental and embrace the beauty of art and walk in other people's shoes. It's empathy. We're artists. We need to be empathetic to others. And you don't know unless you walk in those other people's shoes. So, yeah.
So, Robert, we're going to bring on our next guest. But before
Great.
we do, Carol Channing, to drop a name, she once said that writing a book is the loneliest profession in the world, because you're just in a solitary space doing this. I want to ask you, because we're talking about well-being, what role does routine, or the lack of it, if you don't have a routine, play in maintaining your mental and physical health? As a writer or as an artist, you're also a producer. There are many hats that you wear, Robert.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't really have a routine, and to me, that's the most exciting thing for me. It keeps me alive, it keeps me active, and it keeps me really in touch with the people that I'm collaborating with. Because, today was a bunch of meetings about other projects. And then tomorrow I'm starting my new book. And then on Sunday, I'm working on producing and it's wonderful. Like, I don't think I could do a routine. I think that would be something that, for me as an artist, doesn't do anything for me. I like the constant change and the new collaborations. It sparks something in me. So I don't think I could have a 9-to-5 like a lot of people.
Well, I know that I could not do a 9-to-5. I did that many years ago. Never, ever again. But let's find out if our next guest has a routine. 1 or 2?
Oh, number 2.
And when I bring him on, you ask him if he has a routine. Here he is.
Oh, it's Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Hi, Robert. Hi, Richard, Chris, and Quinn. Great to be here.
So, Dan, do you have a routine?
Well, I like yourself and everybody on of all of my talented cohorts here today. I do have I wear a lot of hats. So, but I started out really as a musician and a singer and performer, and I definitely do that. So they're always, and this sort of picks up on what Chris and Quinn both said. If I'm not doing a little bit of music and working on my chops vocally and pianist every day, I don't quite feel right. So that's always a piece of it. I wouldn't say a routine. I probably like being scheduled. I think everybody here likes having things to do. I'm good if I have blocks of time, because then I can kind of write and do things. But I really like you mentioned, you have, was it meetings today? You said you had meetings today, Robert? Yeah. I like having a lot of different appointments, but then I like to, and this is part of the well-being part of creating the art. I like to have blocks of time where my mind can just go to where it needs to go. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't know. Does anybody feel that way too?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I mean, I just had the great pleasure of doing the New York Cabaret Convention for the first time.
Yay.
Thank you. But leading up to the Cabaret Convention, I was out, my husband and I, we were out for 9 consecutive nights.
Right.
Seeing shows, as Chris says, supporting each other. Quinn knows this very well. We in this community support each other, and we are constantly going out and seeing things. And then there comes a night where we're both home, and it's like, thank God, I love it. I love being out, but there are just certain nights where you just want to be home with nothing on the calendar. You all may remember years ago that Joan Rivers, when her documentary came out, and she said that she actually freaked out if there was an empty page on her.
I remember that. I remember that so well. Yeah. I think there's this kind of thing that happens, especially for performers, where we're going. And then, when we sort of get off of the quote unquote rat race, we feel like something's dropped and nothing's going to happen. No, nothing's happening. I need to do something, but for me, I find, and this sort of maybe appeals to my writer head. And Robert, I would love to talk to you. I've written A Boy Eats Boy, A Boy Meets Boy. Boy Eats Boy. Yeah, that's your next book.
Well, it is Halloween.
Right.
Yes.
And that boy is doing well, so that's good.
So I've written A Boy Meets Boy musical, and and 2 plays, and they've all kind of gotten on, which is great. I'm working on another one now, but I find for the writing part, the planning of a show, the writing of a draft of a script, the solitude, I enjoy it. And I don't mind sitting home and just sort of figuring out, seeing where it goes. I do enjoy that. So that's just to piggyback on what Richard said, where, we can be sort of going, but then the solitude is great too.
So out of the hats that you wear, Dan, is there one hat that fits you better than the others?
I think it changes. That's a great question. I think for me, honestly, it changes. So I love performing. I usually perform approximately, a couple of times a month at Pangea. I think we all probably know that place pretty well, down on the Lower East Side. Other places as well. I play at a place in New Jersey called Shanghai Jazz. It's near Morristown. It's not in Morristown. Anyway, other places as well. So I love performing, but then once I have a string of gigs, I find that after that, well, I got to get back to the writing. There's something, I got to get back to that. I got to finish this project. So I'm kind of very close to where Robert is. I've got something one day where I've got to work on that, and then the next day I've got to do this, and then I've got a busy teaching schedule. I operate a small performing arts school where we teach singing and acting. I don't teach the acting part. I teach vocal technique and performance. Somebody else teaches the acting part. So there's always things to, that's literally like a kind of, in addition to the teaching, it's kind of a managerial thing. I've got to make sure things get done. It's administrative stuff. So there's that. I would say out of all of those hats, I definitely find, and this is maybe the artist, maybe you guys can all appreciate this, I find the administrative part the least exciting, but those are things that have to be done. But I would also say that those things help me maintain my discipline, help me maintain, help me to figure things out, problem solve, work with people, collaborate. So, I don't know that there's one thing. I think that it tends to shift, but I love writing. I've written one musical. I really love writing plays because I find that musicals are so hard to get
Yeah,
on
that's
these
true.
days. You
Well,
know?
I want to get Barbara on. She's been waiting
Yes.
patiently in the wings, and I can see her beautiful face there. But have you ever had to say no to a project to protect your well-being? And what did you learn from that experience?
Oh, it's a great question also. Somebody approached me recently about collaborating, and this does happen because I'm a composer, but I also, since I write lyrics, I know how lyrics work. So I often get calls from lyricists who want to collaborate with me. Somebody wanted to do a musical, and it was sort of on spec. And I just said, I don't think I want to do that right now, unless it's a project that's really got a direction. I don't want to do 10 drafts of a thing and then have to shop it around and figure out how to get it on a stage. That to me is, as I think we all know as artists, we create, that's the fun part. We love doing it, but then there's the mechanics of being seen, developing an audience, as I think Chris was talking about. Those things can really drain us. So I did pass on that. I think, if I were going to do another musical again, another full-length musical again, I think I'd want the circumstances to be different. I was happy with the first one I wrote. It was well received. It was sort of my baby. But I think going forward, I think, I don't know. What did I learn from it was what you asked. I think I learned that it's okay to say no. I think we want to say yes to everything.
Well, I have a friend who does say yes to a lot of projects. She's got a show coming up about life. She started doing these. I'm going to bring her on while I talk about her. She started doing these mini in her living room concerts. They weren't even concerts. They were taking certain songs, attaching how that song played into her life and her career. And she told these great stories. She's been doing an incredible show around the country, her 18 Minutes of Fame. And but this show is based on these songs and these stories that came out of COVID. So Barbara Minkus, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I have, being last is fine. I love it. But I got to know each one of you, and I'm so happy to meet you all, even though you haven't really met me yet officially. But thank you, Richard. That's very sweet of you. Honestly, you have been a real incredible mentor to me.
Well,
because when COVID started and I was still doing 18 Minutes of Fame, there was no more doing shows for a while. And you said to me, why don't you do a song and story series? And I said, I don't know what to do it about. And you said, well, do it about life. And I did. It was such an incredible experience in my living room, clearing out a lot of tchotchkes, so I could make the stage, so to speak, my living room, not look like everybody's eyes were going all over the place. And my husband, who is not in the biz, he was my cameraman and my musical director, who came every week wearing his mask, and he would be over here and I would be over here. And I did 23 shows every other week. And it was so much.
And they're available, everybody, on YouTube.
Yes, they are. It's called About Life, Barbara Minkus. And I learned so much about how to really treasure life and treasure relationships, even making something sad that might have happened, turning it into something positive. And I really learned a lot doing that show. How can you say you grew up at years old? But I did, because it meant so much to me. And so when I was asked by the producer, artistic director of Pacific Resident Theater, if I would like to do an act, a cabaret act, I didn't say no. I said I'd love it. And she said, well, what do you want to entitle it? And I said, about life. And none of the song, only one song is from 18 Minutes of Fame. And actually two, but it's not in the context of what it was in the show. And I just, to put a new frame on something and to write a 60 to 65 minute, I don't have the exact timing of it, one person show was really a terrific experience for me. And it'll be on in November 16th. What a compliment that the theater has decided to put me in their big stage. You know, I was fine with the intimate little stage because I had seen another performer. You know, I wanted to see what a concert was like there. And then what a great compliment, because I just love the big stage. And it's been really fun, and I look forward to. Oh, you're back?
He's
Yes,
back.
sorry about that.
People come and go so quickly here. Barbara, I want to bring up, because it is Halloween.
Yes.
And, you and I are very close in age. So, but when I was just a year or two younger than you, on Saturday afternoons, I used to spin with one of my favorite witches.
Giddle the witch.
That's right. And you were that witch.
I have the costume. You know what is the most important thing to me on Halloween? Oh, you got to see the boots. The boots are to die for.
Oh, wow.
The most exciting thing.
You all may remember the Curiosity Shop that Barbara was on Saturday afternoons.
It was such an inventive show because it was multimedia. It was not only puppets by Bob Baker and Chuck Jones and the producers who had done another show that I was on with them, and music. And I mean, it was so rich for years ago. And I loved doing it. I love being Giddle the Witch. And now, after all these years, and I'm having, have children and grandchildren, they come over and they decorate my front yard, our front yard, any way they want. So that's pretty good, not to get in there and do it over. And I get to put on Giddle the Witch. I go out and do trick-or-treating with them, and I have people come to the house, and of course I'm dressed that it still fits is the best part.
Well, Barbara, the other iconic role that I want to mention to everybody that you may not know, but when I mention this, you're all going to go, yes. Barbara did the Blackout sketches on Love American Style. And she was the one who was always pulling her brass band through the streets of Burbank. So that's another thing that you could do for Halloween.
That's right. That's right. That'll be next year. In fact, they had a brass bed on. I don't know if you guys ever were old enough to have watched Love American Style. I hope so. But we had a brass bed that they had as part of the show, and it was in different segments of the show. And as a wedding gift to me, because I had a blind date while I was doing Love American Style. And that's another story I'll tell you about in a minute. They gave us, my husband and I, as a wedding gift, the brass bed.
Oh. And tell them, Barbara, how many years?
Have we been married?
Yes.
This December 10th, it will be 53 years.
I love her husband.
Oh, I love him too. I love your husband too. And every year we go back to the Bel Air Hotel. Now, we were not married at the Bel Air Hotel. We were married at Sportsman's Lodge. and it cost 53 years ago. I think the whole wedding was kosher, chicken or chicken. It was $938 for the whole wedding. And so every year we go back to the Bel Air Hotel, not to have our suite, which we had on our wedding night, but to eat. And since the Bel Air Hotel a few years ago was under renovation, we started going to Las Vegas. And now we go to Las Vegas every December 10th. And it is so
You have
much
to do the
fun.
Sphere. Get your ticket.
Yes. Well, the
Get-
Sphere is fantastic. Don't miss
But
it.
they're doing the Wizard of Oz. You've got to get your ticket. Speaking of witches, I want to ask you a question about well-being, and then we're going to do a little round table type of thing here. But Barbara, how do you define self-care in the context of your creativity? And is it rest, reflection, movement, or something else entirely?
It's all the above. I have a very important relationship with my higher power, and be it if I go to temple, or be it if I go to Science of Mind, or be it if I go to somebody else's church. I went to DePaul University for a little while, so I have that Catholic kind of connection. It's a very strong connection with God, or good. I call it good because God is good, the goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important for me. And as well as everyone mentioned, keeping your instrument in good shape. I vocalize every day. I exercise every day.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jane Fonda.
That's good.
Now.
Fondue cheese.
Oh yeah, that video. I love that video.
My mother made me do it every day.
We have that state of the art gym here.
But now you're thanking her for it, Quinn.
Yes, I am. But every morning at 5 a.m., it's time for the fondue cheese.
Yes, and it's been wonderful. So it's important for me to stay balanced. Freud said, you got to balance work, play, and love.
Absolutely.
And that's my mantra in life, to balance that. And that's why doing this show now has been so much fun for me, to write it. And
That's
to say,
wonderful.
and
I hope that it's that New York is going to be on your calendar for next year.
Oh, I want that.
I'd love to have it.
I like this show. I said I like 18 Minutes of Fame, but I really like this show.
Wow.
So
That's great.
so, and balance also means that I am there for my husband. That's the love part, and my grandkids and my children. It's very important to balance it all. It's not easy, but it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, I want to ask you, many artists face burnout at some point. How do you recognize when you have the early stages that you're about to burn out? And what do you do to reset that clock?
Sometimes I get bored with what I'm doing, and so I just continue to reinvent myself all the time. Like this Cabaret Show is a reinvention of something that I've wanted. I've been doing shows all my life, but I just, I work to make a living, and I love working every night, but that becomes a routine.
Mm-hmm.
So I veer off to different ideas to keep myself sane, and I do everything I can in show business.
Good for you. Quinn, and we touched on this earlier, but how can community or collaboration, first of all, I love the collaborative process. It's one of my favorite aspects of the work that I do. But how can community or collaboration help sustain your artistic well-being in what sometimes we all feel like this, that we are alone in this world? We all feel that. If you're an artist, it goes with the territory. But being a part of a community and sharing in that, how does that sustain it for you?
It's so important. I mean, you can't have a band without all the players. You can't make music without. I have my little girl. Alea. She likes to collaborate and sing. So I'm having her here. But the community is so important. I mean, I love it. I mean, on the 9 days that you were going out, I saw you probably 2 or 3 of the events.
That's true.
And supporting people and getting inspired and sharing ideas, it's so important. And then there's the creative process when you're working with your director, your musical director, your costume designer, your choreographer. You see things from a different. You're working on the same project, but you're seeing it from a different lens. And I think that's really powerful.
Well, Liza Minnelli once said, as much as she loved being on stage, she says the magic happens in the rehearsal studio.
Oh, it does.
And-
it does. It's like you're suspended in time.
Absolutely. Robert, in moments when your confidence dips, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know.
All the time.
Or comparison creeps in. I don't know if that happens or not. How do you refocus to stay on your own path?
Oh, that's a really fantastic question. I think I just have to remind myself that everybody is on their own path, and that's what makes art so wonderful. As soon as you start comparing yourself to anybody, then I think you kind of stop being an artist, because at that point you're just trying to emulate somebody else, and at that point, where did your voice go? So for me, I dealt with it a lot when I was much younger, but now I just sort of have surrendered to it. And I think it's actually very freeing. So, yeah.
That's great. Dan, how does gratitude or service, giving back through your art, how does that factor into your sense of balance and fulfillment with your own work?
Giving, my late mother-in-law once said, it may not be original, but it is so true. Giving is a gift that we give to ourselves. And I think giving, whether it's whatever it might be, just helping somebody either professionally or somebody needs a referral or a good recommendation, or just lending a hand, whatever it might be, that always makes us feel good, because I think it just releases something chemically in our brains, and we feel better, they feel better, and there's more positive energy in the world. And I do want to piggyback on something that Barbara mentioned too. Also, for me, exercise is energy too. It just, and moving and just getting out and doing something different from just sort of being in the, sort of in the trenches all the time helps. But in terms of gratitude, I would say I try to, I've been very blessed to be able to do what I do, to be able to do it in New York City, and to have sustained a career of years doing it. And I feel as I've gotten older, I feel that much even more, that, hey, I really got a lot of people help me along the way. I want to pay this forward. I want to do something for other people. And that's part of what I, hope to sort of continue with.
And it feels good to be at an age where we can all sing "I'm Still Here" and people not go, "Is this person crazy?"
Right.
So I've got a question that I want to ask each of you, and I'm going to start with you, Barbara. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self about maintaining well-being in this industry, what would it be? And I have to tell everyone before you answer, 18 Minutes of Fame, I hope that it's not on the back burner, that it will come back, because it is a show that's a testament to having a life in this business. So, Barbara.
I think that I would share, and that what's happened for me, that my unconscious does not know the difference from starring on Broadway or being in an off-Broadway musical or play a play.
Barbara, may I interrupt you for a minute? Since you bring that up, and I think this is a lesson for everybody here, a moment from your show. But if you can tell about your opening night on Broadway.
Well, yeah, that is the only piece that I am doing in my cabaret act. Um, I've always wanted, I'm from Chicago, and I always wanted to be on Broadway. I mean, that was my dream. So when that dream did happen, I auditioned for George Abbott. And I got the lead in a musical called The Education of Hyman Kaplan, with Tom Bosley as Hyman Kaplan and Hal Linden as the co-star. And it was magical at the Erlanger in Philadelphia. The reviews, secondary magazines came the night before we opened, and it was just magical. And then it opened April 4th, 1968. That was the same night that Martin Luther King was killed. And all of Broadway went dark that week. And even though I was a regular on Merv Griffin's show, nobody really wanted to touch anything, And Mr. Abbott said he'd even go on the show with me. We couldn't keep the show going, and it closed within 3 weeks. And I decided to run away because my heart was broken. Mm-hmm. So where does an actress, singer run away from New York go to? Hollywood. And that's where one door closes and another door opens. Because what I found in Hollywood was love and fun and creativity. And yes, I miss New York tremendously. And I was so fortunate that I could come back. Thank you for asking, Richard, and do 18 Minutes of Fame in New York at the York Theater just before James Morgan left. And it just meant the world to me. It was almost like a feeling of closure, of being able to come back to New York and do something really good that I really loved, because that's how I felt about Hyman Kaplan, and that didn't happen. So my unconscious doesn't know the difference between starring on Broadway and just singing, a little club or for a community theater or whatever. It just loves performing. It loves singing. It loves.
And that, to me,
giving.
is great advice for all kids that think that Broadway is the end all.
No.
Chris, same question to you. The advice that you would give to your teenage self.
Well, I always loved what I did. No one ever pushed me. So I would have to say that the advice that I would give any younger person in the business is to do what you love to do. I can't live without being in the entertainment field. I just think that you have to enjoy what you're doing in order to show love to everyone else. And is that kind of what you?
That's exactly what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Quinn, same question.
I just gave a speech at the UN and about children and the arts and how important it is for world peace, and two things that I said when I was giving advice. Number one is be consistent, show up every day, even if it's 15 minutes, to work on your craft, and you will master your craft. But you have to give it time every day consistently. And number two is not to worry about what other people think. I spent so much of my younger life worrying about what, the impression, or what other people think, or am I talented enough, or this person's pretty, I'm not pretty enough. And, only to find out things are retouched, and we didn't even know that back then. Mm-hmm. And I think that you have to be true to yourself, to your voice, to your mission, to your talent, and to your story, because everyone has something important to say in the way that only he or she can say it. So
perfect. That's
we
beautiful.
have to.
That's great. Robert?
Oh, I think I would have told myself that, employment is not validation of your artistry.
Mm.
I think for a really long time, I thought, oh, if I'm hired by somebody, that means I'm a good artist. And I think that can be really antithetical to the creative process, because, it's about you. It's about what you want to create. And are you fulfilled as an artist? And, just because somebody's giving you money for it, it's sort of like Barbara was saying, which is, Broadway is not the end all and be all. And I think a lot of people put artistic worth on that, and it's there's a difference between economics and artistry, and they're not always tied hand in hand. And to be dependent upon economic validation to create, I wish I had known that a little earlier. And I try to teach it to my students now. So
That's great.
Well, that's a great lesson. Absolutely. Dan?
Okay. Well, I would start just by saying, I didn't really choose this field. It chose me. I was really called to do it. I mean, I was putting on little plays when I was 5 years old in my parents' garage, and, inviting people and setting up chairs and, all of these things. I think, and I had this dream, and then you go out into the world, as many of my cohorts here were saying, Robert in particular, you get knocked around a little bit. You realize, okay, well, they're not going to, I'm not going to always be accepted or even liked, or, and, I think I always stuck with it. I never really gave up. I always because I just couldn't. I just wanted to find my way, and I worked at it until I did. But I would say, ignore naysayers. There are a lot of people, we've all met people. I think our business is filled with so many wonderful, gifted and great and good souls. But there are people who can be negative. We've all experienced that. I think if I were talking to my younger self or talking to other people, talking to my students, avoid that. One performance, even if it's a mediocre performance, and we've all given them. I think I gave plenty when I was younger, until I knew what I was doing. That's not a referendum.
Right.
Performance is a living. It's a moment.
And sometimes what you consider a mediocre performance, the audience has a different perspective.
They do, but sometimes what we do, and I was just talking to a friend of mine at lunch today, the negative voices are the ones that we hear the loudest, because we're sensitive. We are artists. We feel things differently than other people. So we feel, pain more than other people. We feel pleasure more than other people. And so I think, don't give the voice to the negative. Give the voice to the positive.
That's the perfect button on all of this. I'm going to give each and every one of you a chance to have your final word today. It could be about anything that we talked about that you want to build upon, anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any final message that you want to leave everyone with. Two things that I want to bring up that I've got in the wings. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be interviewing Leslie Ann Warren at the King's Theater in Brooklyn, which is an old movie theater.
Yeah.
Showing Clue. And then after the film, I'm going to be interviewing her. The film is at 8:00 tomorrow night. So if any of you are going to be anywhere near Brooklyn, come, and you may even get a chance to meet Leslie, especially if you send me a text message that you're there. And I also want to let everyone know that I will be back at the Laurie Beachman Theater on November 21st at 7:00. This is Quinn was at the show. It's an unscripted show. I take questions from the audience, and I know what songs I'm going to sing. I'm making some changes from the last show, so it will be a completely different show. But I want to thank each and every one of you. My hope is that everyone who is watching this show will take the time to learn more about all of you. your links, everything are on my YouTube channel. If you, and I'm going to say this for all of you as well, leave a comment on YouTube, share this, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Each of those tasks will elevate this show in terms of the ranking on YouTube. So it's important that you do that. I end all of my shows with the same message, and that is to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. I also want you all to pick up this little device that you all have, and I want you to go to your emails, and the 9th name that pops up, I want you to reach out with a phone call. Not an email message, not a text message, not a private inbox message, a phone call. And let that person know that you're thinking of them. And by doing so, you're going to make a difference in their lives. It's important. We've gotten to this point in our world where everyone thinks an emoji or a like is enough. And it's not. We all need to be interconnected with each other. And that's my mission. That's our mission, that we all do this on a daily basis. But today, it's to reach out to the 9th name. I have a dear friend, Sean Moniger, and he says, we're all in the same, I love Sean. He says, we're all in the same storm, but we're in different size boats. And I always say, I don't care what size boat you're on, as long as you have a skipper by your side. And with that, I'm going to leave the screen. Barbara, I'm turning it over to you. And when you finish, you will pick the next person, and so on, and so on, and so on, until the last person says goodbye. And then I will end the show. But everybody go out and have a great Halloween tonight. Thank you. I'll see you later. And Barbara, it's yours.
I kind of have to think of what's in front of me as like playing tennis. By the way, I'm the worst tennis player in the world. But my husband's great. But it's like when it's just one ball after another that you're hitting. And that one that you didn't hit is past us. It's what's coming to us that matters. To focus on one thing at a time is very important. And that's kind of my mantra that I try to live my life, because it's a pretty full life. I have family and a husband and a house, and I got besides creativity and friends, and it's a balancing act, and to love yourself and to remember about the tennis ball, one ball at a time, not the one that went by. Thank you. So, Robert.
Oh, that's lovely, Barbara. I was going to say, today is Halloween, but only in a few hours. It's going to be November 1st, the month of Thanksgiving. So I'm hoping that one of the things that I like to do over the month of November is every night before I go to bed, I think of 3 things that I'm incredibly thankful for. And so that way, when you're around that Thanksgiving table and you have to go around, you've got a wealth of riches to choose from. And even just having a roof over your head is something to be thankful for enough. And so I hope that we're all very, very thankful as we're going into the month of November. I wish you all a very happy Halloween. I'm turning it over to Chris. All yours.
Thank you. Hi. Well, you see, I have my Halloween cat already. He's my baby. He gives me all the love I need. My show is November 5th, in a couple of days. And I mentioned earlier when Richard asked me why I was, what I thought about doing my very first cabaret show. I mentioned my friend Eden Castiel. She kind of got me interested in doing the show for myself. But when I said she had 6 people in her first audience, that woman did her show 2 months later and filled half of the room. And when she did it a third time, she was sold out. That I didn't get to say in the beginning of the show, so I didn't want to give her any discount. She is the kind of promoter that I am, which is constantly making friends with all of the singers in New York and all of the artists and all of the dancers, people in Broadway. I friended as many people as I had interest in. All took also kind, all of these people in New York, for a man who's almost 80 years old doing his very first cabaret show. And I was very, very happy to see that I have a sold out show now, and New York came through for me. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, and it was so great to meet you today. And let's turn it over to, oh, I want to say something about Rita Hayworth. She's in my show. I do a segment on Pal Joey. And I say, one of my favorite shows when I was 12 years old was Pal Joey with Frank Sinatra, Rita Hayworth, and Kim Novak. And see if you remember some of these songs. And I do a 3-song medley of Pal Joey. It's one of my favorite movies, and I loved Rita Hayworth. So take it, Rita.
Quinn, you're muted. There you go.
There I go. Sorry, my earbuds died, so that's how that happened. I two things. Number one is don't take the people that you love in your life for granted. You don't know how long we have. I just because I've lost 3 people in 2 years, and I just relish my relationships and friendships. And number 2, say yes, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you, because when you walk through that door, something magical happens, and you don't know the opportunities or the people that you're going to meet, and it only takes one moment or one person that can change your life forever. And my shows, my new album, I'm under Grammy consideration, and I'm up for a Josie Award at the Grand Ole Opry this weekend. My sister's walking me down the red carpet, and so it's called Rita Hayworth Remembered, or Rita Hayworth Revealed. And then we begin our residency at the Duplex December 21st through March. So please join us. 2 of them were with the big band and 2 with a quartet. So QuinnLemley.com.
I'm coming back on, Quinn. Aren't you doing it at the Triad?
Yes, I'm at the Triad for the first time. I've only been a guest at the Triad. So I'm at the Triad on 72nd Street in New York City.
That's a great place.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So QuinnLemley.com if you want information. Dan, take it away.
Thank you, Quinn. And I want to thank Richard for this wonderful afternoon. It's been great chatting with everybody, and what a great conversation. I really just want to reiterate what a lot of my colleagues said. Gratitude, being open, being available emotionally and creatively. These are all such wonderful things that we can all pursue going forward and in our lives. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been a part of today. I think that's pretty much about it. I do want to say, if everybody will check me out, my name is Dan Manjovi. And my website is danmanjovi.com. There's a couple of other websites there too. Also, latest project is a new play that I'm very excited about. We just had a reading at AMT Theater right here in the Theater District on West 45th Street. It's a dramatic and intense psychological drama called Breach. And really, that really captures the time that we're in, where we all are so disconnected and become disconnected because of misunderstandings, because we sort of retreat into our own corners. It examines that in a very, I think, emotional and gut-wrenching way. It's really tracks the relationship of a psychotherapist and troubled patient. Anyway, I hope you'll watch out for that. We're planning another reading soon at another theater, so we'll keep you posted on that. You can find me on Facebook as well and LinkedIn. Do want to reiterate, Richard, thank you once again for this opportunity, and I want to give a shout out to all of my cohorts today. Look forward to seeing you around town and whenever I can see you. Thanks again, everybody.